When we search for the divine, we're often looking for perfection, right? For flawless forms, for complete ideals. But what if a god chose a different path? What if, to be truly universal, a deity chose to remain unfinished?
Now, this isn't just some riddle. It's the very heart of one of the most profound and mysterious traditions in the world, the story of Jagannath. It's a story about a hidden god, a king's unwavering faith, and a divine choice that challenges our whole idea of what perfection even means.
Our story starts, not in some grand temple, but way out in the deep wilderness, with a secret that was guarded very, very closely, a deity hidden from the world.
For generations, the Subhadra people worshipped this incredibly unique and powerful deity, far away from the eyes of kings and empires. And you have to understand, this wasn't just a statue to them. It was the center of their world, a living presence they had vowed to protect.
This was Neel Madhav. Just try to imagine an idol carved from a single brilliant blue sapphire, a form of Lord Vishnu so beautiful it was thought to be a direct link to the heavens. The chieftain, Vishvakarma, was its one and only guardian, performing sacred rituals in a hidden cave.
Well, word of this divine blue god eventually reached the powerful King Indradyumna. Now, he was a devout follower of Vishnu, and he was just overcome with this deep spiritual longing. He felt it was his destiny to find Neel Madhav and build a magnificent temple so the whole world could come and worship. To find this secret, the king sent his most trusted priest, a man named Vidyapati. And this mission required some serious cleverness. Vidyapati actually blended into the community, so much so that he even married the chieftain's daughter, Lalita. Through her, he eventually convinced her reluctant father to show him the idol. The chieftain agreed, but with one condition. Vidyapati had to be blindfolded, but Vidyapati had a plan. On the way, he secretly dropped mustard seeds along the path, creating a trail that would later guide his king.
So, with the path now marked, the king's own journey begins. But this quest is about to take a fateful turn. It's going to shift from a simple search to a real test of divine will.
After a few weeks, those mustard seeds sprouted into little plants, creating a living, green trail through the forest. King Indradyumna, with his whole court, followed this path, his heart just filled with anticipation. He was absolutely sure he was just moments away from achieving his life's greatest purpose.
He reached the cave, he went inside the sacred shrine, and he found nothing. The sapphire idol, the radiant Neel Madhav, had vanished, without a trace. The object of this huge, life-changing quest was simply gone.
As the story goes, a massive, sudden sandstorm had just ripped through the area, burying the entire shrine. The Lord had chosen to become invisible. The king was devastated. He believed he had failed completely.
But right there, in his moment of despair, a voice thundered from the heavens. It was the deity himself, telling the king not to worry. He announced that his sapphire form was gone, but that he would reappear in a new form, as a sacred log of wood, a Daru, floating on the ocean. The quest wasn't over. It had just been transformed.
And this brings us to the most mysterious part of the story, the creation of a new kind of god, a deity that wasn't found, but made, a form that wasn't chosen by man, but by the divine itself.
Just as the voice had promised, a massive, mystical log of wood washed ashore. And this was no ordinary piece of wood. The texts say it was radiating a divine light and energy. This was the Daru Brahma, the wood that held the very essence of the Supreme Being. But no human sculptor could even carve this divine wood. Soon, an old, frail carpenter appeared. It was actually Vishvakarma, the architect of the gods, in disguise. He agreed to carve the idols of Jagannath and his siblings, Balabhadra and Subhadra, but he had one single absolute condition. He was to be sealed in a chamber, and no one, under any circumstances, was to open the door until the work was finished. Weeks passed in total silence. No sound of hammering, no sound of carving. The queen, just overcome with anxiety and impatience, started to fear the old man had died in there. Ignoring the king's warnings, she ordered the doors to be opened. When the doors swung open, Vishvakarma was gone. He had vanished. And there, in the center of the room, stood the idols. But they were not the perfectly formed, lifelike statues the king had imagined. They were incomplete. They had these huge, round, staring eyes.
no distinct hands or feet, and only stumps for arms. This moment, which seemed like a total failure, was in fact the moment of divine revelation.
The king was heartbroken, but the great sage Narada revealed the profound truth. This wasn't a mistake. This was the god's chosen form, an incomplete body to signify a boundless, formless spirit. It was a form beyond our human ideas of perfection, and because of that, it was open to everyone and everything.
And this unique, unfinished form gives rise to an equally unique tradition, a sacred cycle of death and rebirth, where the deity's physical body is allowed to change, even as the soul remains eternal.
This ritual is called Nava Kalabara. Nava means new, and Kalabara means body. It's a complex ceremony where Lord Jagannath and his siblings discard their old wooden forms for new ones. It almost mirrors the human cycle of reincarnation, and it suggests that even gods, in their physical forms, are subject to the laws of nature.
Now, you might be wondering, why is this necessary? Well, according to scripture, different types of idols have different lifespans. An idol made of gem, like the original Neel Madhav, could last 10,000 years. A metal one, 1,000 years. But a wooden idol, a Daru Vigraha, has a lifespan of about 12 years. So this whole ritual isn't some modern invention. It's rooted in a very ancient understanding of materials and divinity.
The most sacred moment of the entire ritual is the transfer of a mysterious life substance from the heart of the old idols to the new ones. And this transfer is done by a blindfolded priest in complete secrecy.
What is this life substance, this Brahma Padartha? Well, no one knows for sure. It is the temple's most guarded secret. Some traditions believe it's the unburnt heart of Lord Krishna from his cremation. Some Buddhists suggest it could be the tooth relic of Lord Buddha. Others think it's a secret salagram stone, or maybe even a piece of that original divine log that washed ashore for King Indradyumna. Its true nature remains a matter of pure faith.
Which brings us right back to where we started. The story of Jagannath is this profound meditation on how an infinite, formless divine can choose to live in a finite, even incomplete form. It suggests that divinity isn't found in perfection, but in presence. Not in the flawless image, but in the soul that resides within. A soul that is forever being renewed.